Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now, friends, today I was thinking about guiding you to impermanence meditation on the feelings, but before that, I thought it would be better to go for an overview about our discussions we did on the impermanence. How do we do the impermanence meditation? On the senses and on the feelings, can someone remind me?
On the senses.
Yeah. Can you tell me about on the senses, how do you meditate the impermanence?
We say this I is impermanent.
Yes. Yes.
This ear is impermanent. Sorry.
Yeah. Can you complete that into the feelings, because we did that once in this discussion also. Starting from the senses, you think something up until to the feelings in order to know its impermanence. Yes, there is the eye as your sense, the sense faculty, and what happens next? You see the sight. Okay? And when the eye and the sight is working, what is the immediate result of that conditions?
Consciousness.
Yeah, the consciousness arises.
Arises.
And what happens when there is a visible eye and an object, and then there is the consciousness? What happens next?
Eye consciousness?
No. These three things come together. Contact. A contact is formed. A contact is formed. And when the contact is there, the feelings arises. That's how we meditated on the feelings. Up until to the feelings, we studied what actually happens in here. We learned that the feelings are not arising like falling from the sky, but there is a kind of a process in that senses. Okay. Now, friends, we do this meditation by thinking that these senses are impermanent. We try to see the eye is impermanent, sights are impermanent, consciousness is impermanent, contact is impermanent, feelings are impermanent. That's how we try to meditate on the feelings. Shall we give it a try before we are going to study that in details, because this is connected to our previous discussion also. I see my friends were here in our previous discussion also. And for my new friends, you can also join with this. And this will make sense when we study about this later. But for now, because we need to protect the time that we have for the discussion, we'll just go to the meditation. Um, this will brings you kind of understanding about the senses, and later we go to the discussion. Okay, let's see what is this meditation. Okay, I did this once in our discussion a few weeks ago. Um, let's meditate on this. This develops our insight into our life to manage our feelings when they are arising inside. Please close your eyes. I'm going to guide you to the meditation. And please sit comfortably. Now try to bring your focus to the senses. First, we start with our eye. You can simply imagine your eye. Now, my eye is subject to change. This eye is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. This eye is subject to change. This eye is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When I see a sight through this eye, that sight is also impermanent. We see different sights through our eyes. Whatever the sights there are, all the sights are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When there is an eye and a sight, the eye consciousness arises, which means the awareness of the sight arises. That awareness arises because of the eye and the sight. Otherwise, there won't be the eye consciousness, which means awareness of the eye, won't be there. If the eye were to be impermanent and sight were to be impermanent, how eye consciousness is permanent? Eye consciousness is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When there is the eye and the sight, and the consciousness is there, the eye contact arises. Eye contact means this unity, this collection, this coming together of these three things. Which means there is an I, there is the sight, and there is the consciousness. This coming together of the three is called the eye contact. Eye contact is also impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Eye contact is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. If the eye is changing, sight is changing, how eye contact is permanent? Eye contact is impermanent. Dependent on the eye contact, the feelings arises. Sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we feel sad, sometimes we feel neutral. Whatever the feeling arises, dependent on the contact, that too is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. The feeling is subject to change. The feeling is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now try to bring your focus to the ear. Now this ear is also impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. This ear is subject to change. This ear is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. There are sights that we hear. Throughout the day, we hear a lot of sounds, different sounds. Sometimes we hear people speaking. Sometimes we hear sounds of the vehicles or the birds or whatever around us. All the sounds, impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. All the sounds subject to change. Now the first thing happens when a sound, the vibration reaches to the ear, is that the consciousness arises. The consciousness takes the opportunity to arise when there are ear and the sound. So the consciousness, we call it the awareness, is too impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. The ear consciousness, the awareness of the ear, is subject to change. Impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. These three things, the ear sound and the ear consciousness, come together and then it makes the ear contact. Which means the ear contact means the collection of these three components, ear, sound, and the ear consciousness. That contact is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Why is that? Because the ear is changing, sounds are changing, so the consciousness is too changing. So no matter whether it is collected or not, that is too is changing. Impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When the contact is impermanent, whatever the feelings arises dependent on that contact, that too is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. So whatever the feelings, whether it is happiness, sadness, or neutral, is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now, there is this nose. Try to bring focus to the nose. In your mind's eye, you can try to bring focus to the nose. This nose is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. And whatever the smells there are, smells are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When there is nose and the smells, nose consciousness arises, and that too is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. If the nose is subject to change and the smells are changing, how the awareness of the nose is permanent? That nose consciousness is too impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When there are these three things, nose, smells, and consciousness, these three things comes together, that is called the nose contact. And the nose contact too is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now whatever the feelings arises, dependent on that contact, those feelings too, impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now the tongue. This tongue is also impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Whatever the tastes there are, impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When there is tongue and the taste, the tongue consciousness arises, and that too is impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Coming together of these three things, tongue, taste, and tongue consciousness, to impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Whatever the feelings there are, dependent on that tongue contact, whether it is happiness, sadness, or neutral, all those feelings too are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now the body. This body is also impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. There are tactile objects. Whatever the touch attached to the body. Those are two: impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. When the body and the touch come together, the body consciousness, which means the awareness of the body, arises. That is two: impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now when these three things come together, that is body contact, which means there is the body present, there is a touch, and there is the awareness. That unity is also impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now how, dependent on that impermanent contact, feelings stay forever? The feelings will definitely changes. It will be impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Now this mind is also impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. This mind is subject to change. And whatever the mental object come to the mind, that is too impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. And the consciousness arises. Here the mind consciousness means the awareness of the mind. That is seen as different for the mind in this case. So there is mind consciousness. Mind is one thing and the awareness of the mind is another. And then the mind object come to the mind. The object come to the mind. Then the mind consciousness arises. There is the mind and the mental object and the mind's consciousness. These three things come together and that is called the mind contact. The mind contact too is impermanent. Why is that? Because the mind is changing. Mental objects are changing. So the mind consciousness, the awareness, is also changing. So the contact is changing. Whatever the feelings arises because of the mind contact, those are too impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. The feelings are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Dependent on the impermanent mind contact, whether it is happy, sad, or neutral, all those feelings are subject to change. Feelings are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Feelings are subject to change. Feelings are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Feelings are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Whether the happy feeling arises, neutral feeling arises, sad feeling arises, all the feelings are impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. All the feelings subject to change. All the feelings impermanent, impermanent, impermanent. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, friends, now you can open your eyes. Okay. Now this is the meditation on the impermanence. Okay, friends? During this meditation, what you learned, can you tell me? What did you learn during this meditation? If you remember, maybe
Yes,
one thing or two things, what can you share with me about this meditation? Uh, make it short. I just want to see that whether this made you sense or not, or how did you take this? Because I want to process my next discussion for this. We did this meditation previously. Yes, Manfred?
I, 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 eyesight, eye consciousness, and mean also eye awareness, and which the three combined make eye
Yes,
contact. Eye
yes,
contact creates feeling,
yes.
either happy feeling, unhappy feeling, or neutral feeling.
Okay, yes,
All subjects are impermanent.
yes. Um, so as for the rest of the other senses, I know the meditation on the mind, mental object, and mind consciousness kind of like confusing, might be because of lack of the knowledge about that according to the Buddhism, that it might be difficult to understand. But hang on, we'll study that in the future. But in this case, normally we think in our day-to-day life when we see something, we just become sensitive to the feelings about the things that we interact. And we feel whether it can be happiness, like the pleasant, or sadness, which means the neutral. We experience those feelings just by looking at the sight, by hearing the sound. But the Buddha discovered there is a process going on in this interaction, and that is what is called the contact, and that is what is called the arising of the consciousness and the contact, and that is how we feel. Let's suppose a person is a blind person, a born blind person. Can that person feels the sight? Because the eye is missing, so this person won't see the sight. So no feelings.
Right.
No feelings regarding the sight. No happy feeling or sad feeling. Let's say there is no sights at all. There is no sight. Full darkness. Do this? Do they have the feelings of the sights?
No, they don't.
No. It's said that there is a place beings born in the samsara called a Lokantarika Niraya, which means a uh, lower realm beings are born, is said to be the eye consciousness won't arises because the sight is missing in that place. It's called a kind of a realm, a very dark place, beings reborn. It's said that the eye consciousness won't arise. There is, and it's interesting because it says that that place is located in between two galaxies. In the commentaries, it says it's among the two galaxies. Anyway, so It's very dark place. So the sight missing, the eye is working, eye consciousness won't arise. So no contact, no feelings. So then there is the happy feeling, sad feeling, neutral feeling. It is based on the contact, and the contact is based on the eye and the sight. Now the teaching is this. Well, let's go to the sutta. Buddha says this, rooted in contact. Monks, because these three feelings are born of contact, rooted in contact, and with the contact as their source and condition. Now you know what are these three feelings. What three? Pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neutral feeling. All the three feelings born of contact, rooted in contact, and with contact as their source and condition. When someone says to you that it is contact, you need to understand in the context that this is speaking about three things coming together. Three things comes together. That is contact. Now, to clarify this, may I ask you a question? What is ear contact? Can someone answer what is ear contact?
There's the ear and the sounds and ear consciousness. These three goes
Great,
together
yes.
and do ear contact.
Yes, excellent. Now someone tell me what is nose contact?
Well, the nose, the
Yes,
smell,
nose, nose conscious.
and the nose contact. And
Nose
which
consciousness,
creates,
nose contact. Yeah, come together, nose
which
contact.
creates the feelings.
Yes. What is tongue contact? Tongue, taste,
Taste,
tongue consciousness, coming together, tongue contact. What is body contact? Body, touch, body consciousness, body contact. What is mind contact? Mind, mental object, mind consciousness, coming together, mind contact. As long as the food is on the table, do we feel the food?
no.
Food is on the plate. Do we feel? So then the contact is not appeared when the food is on the table. As long as it is on the plate, on the table,
We don't feel
the
it.
contact is not appeared. So the contact is not outside, but it need to be touched, like they interacted with the consciousness. Okay, the contact. Now Buddha says, if you wanna manage your feelings, you wanna know about the conditions of the feelings. That is the contact. Now let's go back to the sutta. Now the sutta says this. These three feelings are born of contact, rooted in contact, and with the contact as their source and condition. What are these three feelings? Pleasant, painful, neutral. Now Buddha explains even more details. In dependence on a contact to be experienced as pleasant. There are long sentences. Let's go slowly. In dependence on a contact to be experienced as pleasant, because a pleasant feeling arises. Why that I got delight when I saw a beautiful person is because it was dependent on a contact which brings a pleasant feeling. In dependence on a contact to be experienced as pleasant because a pleasant feeling arises. Now there is the pleasant contact to bring up the pleasant feeling. Here the pleasant contact means we see a pleasant, like an attractive person. So that's how we experience this pleasant feeling. Pleasant feeling arises. Now this pleasant feeling is not permanent. Okay? Some people might think, oh, I got like a pleasant, happy feeling now because that I see this attractive person. This would be permanent forever. But it won't happen like that. Buddha says, with the cessation of that contact to be experienced as pleasant, the corresponding feeling, in more details he says, the pleasant feeling that arose in dependence on that contact to be experienced as pleasant, ceases and subsides, which literally means that as long as the pleasant contact is there, the pleasant feeling arises, and when the pleasant contact disappears, the pleasant feeling disappears, ceases and subsides. Let's say that I'm staring at a beautiful object in my eye. I see the beautiful object. Now this interaction is the pleasant contact. As long as I'm staring at that, I will feel it. But if something happened to the object, the feeling disappears. Nothing to make it permanent, nothing to hold into that, nothing to attach to that, nothing to try to make it solid. Why? Because it's already is changed. Why is it changed? Because the pleasant object disappears. Now this is the most interesting place. Buddha says, in dependence on a contact to be experienced as painful, a painful feeling arises. Why do we have pain? Is because there is a contact. The pain arises. Let's say my ear is here, someone is harming me, like abusing me through the words. Now I hear this, and the consciousness arises, awareness arises, and there is the contact. Now there is this interaction. This person is keep telling something. Now I'm hearing this. Now what is this contact is unpleasant. Is a contact known as a painful contact.
Yes.
A painful feeling arises. A painful feeling arises. Why? Because there was the painful contact, the painful feeling arises. Now, the most interesting part is this. With the cessation of that contact to be experienced as painful, the corresponding feeling, in more details, the painful feeling that arose in dependence on that contact to be experienced as painful, ceases and subsides. Which means if the contact disappears, if that person stops speaking, or if I put my ears in my fingers in my ears, no contact, feeling ceases. Now you see the governing factor, the authority over the feeling was the contact. It was nothing to do in my power. Like I have nothing to do in my power over it. I can't compare. What I can do is change in the contact so the painful feeling will change. As long as the unpleasant feeling is there, like the unpleasant contact is there, so I feels the unpleasant feeling. But when the contact ceases, disappears, the feeling ceases. Independence on a contact to be experienced as neutral, neither painful nor pleasant. And the neither painful nor pleasant feeling arises, which means right now there might not be someone criticizing or someone is telling us good. No pleasant contact, no unpleasant contact. There might be neutral contact. So the neutral feeling arises. That's two-way feeling. It's dependent on the external things. With the cessation of that contact to be experienced as neutral, the corresponding feeling ceases and subsides. When that condition disappears, the neutral feeling disappears. Without understanding this, what we try to do is try to keep the feelings permanent. We try to run away from the reality. We try to make it solid. We try to make it permanent. Why we try to do that? Because we never saw that the feelings are controlled by the contacts. Happy feeling, the pleasant feeling arises when there is a pleasant contact. And when the pleasant contact disappears, pleasant feeling disappears. Painful feeling arises because of the painful contact. When the painful contact disappears, painful feeling disappears. Neutral feeling arises because of the neutral contact. That contact disappears, the feeling disappears. Now let's say because that we are folding our legs for a long time, there might be a painful feeling. That pain arises in ourselves because of a condition, and that is because of folding the leg. That is the contact. The body, the tactile, like the touch, and the awareness over it. That unpleasant contact brings the painful feeling. What we do normally is that we stretch our leg. Then we don't feel that contact anymore. So the contact disappears. Now we feel good. We feel pleasant feeling. Now Buddha gives a kind of a simile to understand this, because just as heat is generated and fire is produced from the conjunction and friction of two sticks, Buddha says, let's say someone takes two sticks and like they rub together and produces a fire. But when the sticks are separated and laid aside, the resultant heat ceases and subsides. When the two sticks leave apart, change, like put aside, the fire disappears. Why the fire was there is as long as these two sticks together. We keep two logs together and make a fire, and when we leave the two logs apart, the fire disappears. Meanwhile, when the fire is burning, it burns as long as two logs are together. When they are disappears, the fire disappears. So too, these three feelings are born of contact, rooted in contact, with the contact as their source and condition. In dependence on that appropriate context, the corresponding feelings arises. With the cessation of that appropriate context, the corresponding feeling ceases. It ceases. We see the sight through the eye, just like these two logs. The fire, just like the fire arises, the consciousness arises. Now this whole thing is the contact. Now this contact brings me the feelings. If that is a friend, I feel happy. If that is the enemy, I feel sad, unpleasant. If that is a neutral person, I will feel neutral. But when that too disappears, the feeling disappears. Sometimes the same person act like a friend and in the split second act like an enemy. The same object of the sight, like the object of the eye, changed. So it was disappeared. So the feeling disappeared. Sometimes a person might speak to us nicely. The same person might tell us bad things. The same source that brought the sound is changing. We hear that. We become sensitive, like the awareness arises and there is the contact. And continuously feelings arises. It can be happy, it can be sad, it can be neutral. With all the words, the speech that person tells us, the contact changes, the feelings changes. Okay, friends, I tried I tried to share something about the contact. I hope it made some sense.
Yes, it did.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, Bante. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Can I ask a question, Bante?
Yes.
The simile that Bante gave when there is plate of good food on the table, Bante.
Yes.
Bante mentioned that the feelings won't arise. But I think what Bante meant was the feelings born of the tongue contact that don't,
Yeah.
but the feeling born of the eye contact may arise, Bante, because when we see good food on the
Oh,
table,
but the senses activates one at a time. Even though that it seems like that the all the senses are working together, but the senses activates one at a time when the consciousness arises. Sometimes we eat food and watching television, but Buddha says, I can't give a simile to understand how fast is the mind, the consciousness. It changes really fast. Even though it seems like we are interacting with everything together with all the senses, but it is not.
so
They
Bante,
are arising one at a time, one at a time. Yeah, I understood what you said about the food. When you see the food, it brings you the happy feeling. But I'm not speaking in that moment. I was not speaking about the eye. I was telling about the food as a taste for the tongue. Food as the taste for the tongue.
right. Thank
That
you.
when I'm speaking, are you aware about how your body that you are keeping? Like when you're looking at the screen and you are listening to my sound? Probably not. You don't know. But you might want to bring your, like the manasikara, your attention to the body in order to know that.
Yes.
This is how when a person meditates, they lose their connection with the body. Why? Because their awareness is completely focused to the mental, like to the object, like to the breath, like, or let's say like to the skillful thought, like the loving kindness, like the mental object. So the mind is completely occupied by the mind object. In that moment, you won't know. You don't know about how the body is. It's a deep part, but we'll go to that. What I just want to know, like share with you, is that when there arises the painful feelings, try to know those pains as conditions by the contacts.
Right, Bante. So when we see something inside our eyes that has the nama rupa, and with that manasikara, then that contact happened, Bante, right?
I
Because,
don't speak about Namarupa right now.
okay.
I just spoken about
Okay.
very simple thing. Very
Yeah.
simple thing. In this sutta, Buddha didn't say about Namarupa.
No, yeah, because Bante mentioned
It's very simple.
Mahāsatipaṭṭhāna just now.
Like you start to practice this simple sutta, you
Mm.
can become enlightened.
Right.
That doesn't mean that there are no Namarupas involved in this, but I want to share one step at a time to my
Right.
friends. I just don't want to make everything complex at
Yes.
once. But just try to know when there is the painful feeling, that painful feeling arises because of the contact. And the contact is dependent on the object, internal object and the external object and the consciousness. And the contact will bring the feeling.
Right. Thank you, Bante. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll speak about Namarupa later, okay?
Excellent.
Try to apply this in your day-to-day life. When you take the food, try to know that I'm feeling this happy feeling about the food. Well, if the food is happy, try to know that there is tongue and there is food, and my consciousness arises right now, and I'm having now contact, and I'm now having feelings. When you stop the food, you'll have a very peaceful mind. You'll have a big, like a powerful, mindful mind, peaceful mind. You won't become restless by bringing up the greed over the food. It just stays there because you understood, oh, I had that happy feeling while I'm eating the food, but the food is now gone. Feeling is now gone. Feeling is no more. Okay, friends, thank you so much. I got 6 more minutes from you. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. And we'll talk about this in our next session in more details. And may you be well, happy, and peaceful. By the power of this merit, may every one of us be able to attain the perfect bliss of our mind. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Take care, friends. Good night.